the magnet in which they used to make the compasses out of, right? When they used to make compasses, they would put some magnetite in there, or they would make dowsing rods. They would put magnetite in there because it picks up on the magnetic north. And then the other one is lapis lazuli, which has the copper in it, right? The blue, you got the copper in there as well. But this one has a lot of sulfur and is very conductive, right? If you strike, for example, this stone against this stone, you can actually create a fire. It's very, very conductive. But we've had a couple people who've experimented putting the lapis lazuli on their coil, and their plant exploded in a short amount of time. So I think each stone, each crystal, right, also emanates and creates different types of frequencies and things like that. And it's just kind of understanding, okay, which ones should I be using, right, for the color spectrum that I may be in need, right? When we look at all the stuff that's going on in the sky, what are they doing? They're blocking the sun, the color spectrum of the sun. So when we start putting all these beautiful colors back in there, we're actually bringing back the color spectrum into the plants too. But copper is the same reflective color. If you hit this with the sun, you'll get a hue, you'll get like a big circle around it of that golden hue of, for example, the sunset and sunrise. So think of it as giving also your plants certain colors. And this is what I've been experimenting with.
Oh, I never thought of that.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, you're trying to, like, so think of your lights, you know, they're only giving certain spectrums based on the light, but now what they're doing is giving the spectrum it needs, right? So certain stones and certain materials can also emanate certain colors and spectrums. So we're putting it into like, that's kind of what I've been messing around with. So I guess that's the best way to describe my experiments.
That's awesome, brother.
That's a golden nugget right there, Matt. Golden nugget, I'm telling you. I love it.
So we've been going an hour and 15. So what if people, obviously everyone does, I'm watching this, does want to start Electro-Culture because this is what we need, right? We need lots of food in abundance. So what's the best way to get started? You were sort of just mentioning gemstones, and before you mentioned quartz and all this kind of stuff. Are they built into the antennas? Like if people want to get started, what would you tell them?
If they wanted to get started, the simplest way,
Oh, am I frozen?
It's all good.
Oh,
the simplest way would be just a piece of wood with copper and then just wrapped and placed into the earth. That would be the easiest way. But we have a part on our website which just has tons of information on this. It's cultivateelevate.com/electroculture. And I actually redid the blog that you guys posted up before because I noticed that it was all messed up. You're frozen. But I redid everything on that blog so that there's more information, better diagrams, better images, better videos, and then just more frequently asked questions. Because a lot of people are trying to figure out, you know, can I use pennies? What type of materials should I use? Should I use a copper pipe? You know, should we use like the basalt? Can I do this with hydroponics? So it kind of covers all of those different spectrums and different frequently asked questions so that people can really take an initiative and just try it out and see what happens.
Awesome. Highly recommended website. Highly recommended. I love that. I got a question for you, Matt. You had mentioned earlier your friend is doing a large scale, and he had run the copper wire from his antenna down into the dirt. He used copper wire rather than galvanized for the dirt antenna, so to speak.
Yes. So he ran copper throughout the whole entire all of the land, and he basically created this big, large-scale antenna, and he aimed it out, kind of like a tees. Think of like tees, you know. And so it's a big, tall one with like arms kind of hanging out like that, and it's just going up into the air. And then he ran that copper into the soil through the earth, and then made it like a grid into his dirt.
That's awesome. That's awesome because I use galvanized wire for my north end to go into the dirt, but I'm going to be trying the copper wire outdoor. That's just my indoor setup. So thank you.
Yeah, try it out and just, you know, test different materials. You know, I guess that's the best way to describe it. Test and see what works, you know, and everybody's land is different, right? Somebody might use different types of materials based on their land, right? That's another thing that's kind of forgotten. You know, certain land is going to require certain things, and everybody is at different points. You know, I'm here, for example, in Arizona, and the soil is a little bit different Then, for example, if I go farther north, it's a different type of soil. So it might depend on what you're working with. But yeah, try it out and see what happens.
Awesome.
Nice. So, yeah, basically, yeah. So if people want to get this started, get some copper, get a few things. And I mean, I suppose if your soil, if there's a lot of quartz around your area, you probably don't need to put quartz in and things like this. So that sort of, would you think? So that's kind of how you need to look at your own land and just try things, I guess, see what happens. But also, if you're doing this, guys, which you all are going to do, you know, record your results and let everyone know what does work and what doesn't, because, you know, with social media, right, we can get this sorted out very, very quickly, right? And it literally might be, you know, use this stone for green leafy vegetables and this for tomatoes. You know, we just don't know, but all this has got to be sorted out. So definitely let us know. And as we're seeing now, this is Matt's channel, Cultivate Elevate. The link is below in the description. And is your website cultivateelevate.com?
Yeah,
Yes.
I post right here, right? And
Yep.
I posted this link in
That's
the
the
live
one
chat
there.
as well for everyone.
And you're also on Instagram, is that right?
Yeah, we're on Instagram. We have our 2 pages. We have Cultivate Elevate, and then Cultivate Elevate 2 is our backup page, which has actually surpassed our original page now.
That's it. Gotta love censorship.
It's just, you know, I realize they will censor you. Now they censor Electro-Culture videos too as well, right? Like they're
Wow.
it's obviously because people are starting a movement. I've seen so many things happen. And it's, yeah, I mean, it's funny if you look at the Electro-Culture hashtag on, like, for example, TikTok, right? It's at 17 or 18 million views.
Wow.
Right? It was at 1,000 views when I put up my first video of a copper with a piece of wood and a antenna, right? So to see that and all the people, and the thing you just said too, record, make videos, show, do experiments, get creative, because that's what's needed, because we can't just do this one person at a time. We need to do it as a, you know, as a
the grand awakening.
Yes, we're all here talking from all different points. Everybody should be doing that, and
we're gonna have you back, Matt, for several more, and even
whether you like it or not.
We should try for once a month, even, so that we can each share all of our results from our Electro-Culture gardenings. Because I'm also gonna be doing some here. Gerald's doing some, you're doing some, but then also diving into the Tartaria, the Antiquitech, all of that, which we've researched a little bit more, but you also now are getting into and making a lot more sense of it. So we can start applying that in experiments too. And absolutely awesome work you're doing, sir.
Well, and
that's the thing.
I was going to say what Campbell was saying is with the stones too. Remember the dolmens? They used to stack the stones on top of each other, and that created an effect, right? So I even thought if someone took rocks from their backyard, stack them on top of each other, depending on what the material is, right? They could be creating energy too. We have no idea what anything does. Basically, I've realized we're very we know it's a drop in the bucket.
It's all fields, and we've been taught. We haven't even taught about fields, right? But clearly, everything is fields and interacting fields. So we need to sort of start looking at things. Stop listening and start, you know, doing more experiments, I think. But the main thing I wanted to say is, you know, this is so easy. There's not much to this, right? It's getting seeds, some metals, some rocks, doing some experiments. But these little, you know, fairly simple seeming acts, this could change everything. Like literally, if they've got no food to sell us, no chemicals, fertilizers, I mean, that would take down so many industries, right? That are all built to repress us. Like this is such a simple solution to literally create so much change so quickly and so easily and so cheaply. Like it's so, I'm just really glad that you're out there doing your work and that I came across it, and it links in perfectly with everything we've been doing and the whole Tartaria, this whole sort of journey I guess we've been on for the last kind of 3 or 4 years, working out that everything's just a lie and that we did know how to do all this stuff. We've just got to get back and listen to ourselves and do some experiments and do it again.
Yeah. Right. And Campbell, you're now on a farm in Australia. So What a perfect first episode for being on Kelly's farm. And by the
Indeed.
next time Matt's on, we better see some antennas plugged into the ground
Yeah.
out there, mister.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe
I've got a
build yourself,
garden.
maybe
some
build
shelters
yourself a
right behind me.
dolmen. I wanted to get back to that a little bit. I don't know if any of you guys have seen that documentary. They were pulling apart one of them in England, and they took a breakdown of the materials, and it turns out all the materials that were contained in it acted as an earth battery.
Yep.
So very interesting tech. It could go along with Electro-Culture or even Antiquitech, like you were talking about with the balls on top of the homes. They could have been pulling electricity in, collecting it through electrostatic motors or whatever other mechanism they're using, as well as the Electro-Culture on top of that. And that just blows my mind. So thank you for your work, Matt. Just wanted to bring that up.
No, I like that, and you're spot on with that. I saw a guy in New York who showed two stones stacked on top of each other, and they were seeing all these orbs all over the place, and they were like, "Oh, it's haunted." That's what they were telling them. But what they didn't realize when they showed with this device what was actually being seen. It was the response coming from the rocks. It was creating the piezoelectric effect, which was making these orbs all over the place. And yeah, I mean, think of that energy if you harnessed it, or you put it below the earth and you kept it as a battery, and you turned it into a little battery down there. You could have a ton of energy all the time, and you could always kind of shoot it out whenever you needed it, right? Because that's kind of how it would work. And it's like, yeah, we could be doing all of that, and they did do that, right? Like related to Tartaria and all of that. They understood all that. You know, they weren't building these beautiful buildings for fun. You know, they understood all of their architecture and the materials that went into them, and the crystals and the stones and the gold and the mercury and all those other things that were.
Absolutely.
And here's Dolmen in Montana, they say, and look at how tall it is. Is that essentially what you're describing? That it's more of an antenna reaching up? And that trees, was that why they're growing up? Because then into the roots, into the ground, that's probably natural Electro-Culture and just how these plants move all on their own. And the pyramids, how quickly they all get overgrown, and that a lot of the times South America, am I going to get the right pictures? Never works out when you're live. Here we go. Right, just how quickly they overgrew. And then in